You've started the business and you're already doing treatments for customers, and your clinic is just about complete. That's when you're going to open it when your lovely big chair arrives.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you about some of the trials and tribulations of actually starting a business, and if there's any advice you would give to other people. So not the industry specific stuff, just the thought of...
I think if you've got an idea in your head, you have to go with that idea. I mean, I've been thinking about starting my own business for the last 20 years, on and off. You know, it's taken me that long, which I hope it wouldn't take most people that long, but during my life period I've had various things that have happened and I thought, no, I'll put it on hold.
So like then family and life in general.
Yeah, and financially, you know, I had an idea, so much so that I could have told you what I wanted my clinic to look like.
Oh, well, that's brilliant, because not many people have that.
I knew what colour I wanted, I knew where I wanted things, I knew how I wanted it to look. But that all came, I think, from originally working with the company that I trained with, which was Scholl.
Yeah.
The experience that I wanted to create was the same as the experience I was giving clients when I worked for Scholl 25 years ago.
Which is a highly esteemed company in that industry.
Yeah, and they basically at that point in time was the only company on the high street that had a chain of chiropody practices, usually combined with footwear selling, so shoes, etc. And the client could get advice on good footwear and then they could go and have a treatment. And I knew in my head, not so much the selling of the footwear, but I knew that I wanted products that worked well along with the treatment. So
you
they were
already
specifically
had that bar of their quality in your head.
Yeah, and then obviously Scholl, they're not around anymore in that they don't have the clinics anymore.
Yeah.
They sold to another company and the other company took over, and they probably are very, very similar over the years. It has changed though, and I wanted to go back to that original form of a standard treatment where it wasn't just for people that were having problems, it was for anybody.
Okay.
I knew what I wanted it to look like, I knew what kind of equipment I wanted, and the idea of starting my business was really easy. But as I've now put the ball in motion, so to speak, I've now started thinking that on the business side, some things have tested me really. For example, 20 odd years ago, not many people were doing chip and pin.
Yes.
Now I'm thinking, actually, for my business, I really want to do chip and pin.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a headache. I've been looking at companies that you can do it through your phone, or you can do it through a merchant service with a bank. And who is there's only me. I'm not a big multi-million-pound business. So obviously I want to keep as much of my money for me. How much is it going to cost me for every transaction? I think that one thing is the thing that's really stumped me. And I think for small businesses, it is essential that they're able to take payment in different ways.
Do you think then that although technology has made some things easier, it's on the flip side, you've now got a lot of more work to do to figure out, well, what's the best option, because there's so many choices now.
It's horrendous. There are so many different choices, so many companies offering different deals. You need to be careful. They're offering promotions where the machine's free, but then when you look at how much they charge per transaction, or do you pay for it and get it slightly cheaper? Because it's just a nightmare. That's the one nightmare.
Being a startup business is just you, so you've just got to do everything.
Yeah. So that's the one thing, is because you want to give the client the opportunity to pay by card. If they're just paying cash and they know that say it's £30, £35 a treatment, they might only bring that amount of cash with them. But I want to sell them an added on product.
Yes.
If they've got the card there, they're more likely to spend rather than say, oh, well, I'll get that next time because I've only got...
No, yep,
Do
totally
you
agree
see
with
where
you.
I'm coming from?
'Cause if
So
you don't make it really easy for the customer to
you're
be
losing
upsold
out.
to, then yes, you are as a
you
business
need
losing out.
you need that to give them that choice.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual setting up of the business and getting in touch with the tax people for me have been really, really helpful. But I have been self-employed before as a childminder, so that made it a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
I already had a unique tax code, so I just restarted that one with the help of the tax office. So
I have to admit, I've had the same experience. If you phone them up and ask them questions,
and you speak to them. I did
quite
try and do it
helpful.
online, and that was a bit of a well, I wasn't quite sure which link to click on, so I thought, well, we'll just stop there and we'll ring them up.
Yeah, no, I've had that experience too. So what about talking about the IT digital side of things? What about marketing? Are you planning on just using social media, or are you thinking that you're going to have some other kind of marketing?
Well, I think for a small business just starting up, I've only really marketed myself on Facebook at the moment, but I do think, depending on how well the business goes, a website is quite essential, even if it's for doing promoting things that you sell, like the add-on products, and being able to retail online.
Yes.
I've already had a few people that have asked me from my Facebook page, have I got a website?
Yeah.
And at the moment I feel like there's a gap because I don't have a website.
Yeah, it's almost like it's your official calling card. You
Yeah,
know, they
it's
want
like
to check your credentials. And
it's like a business card online.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of advertising on Facebook is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think some people then look to go that next step to a website and look at the business as a whole.
Yeah, what's your background, what's your certificates, and
So I think definitely a website is something that I'll be thinking of in the future. But first of all, I need to get going.
Yes, you need to get some money in.
Yeah. It's going to cost me.
Yes, it's very expensive starting up because there's all these. I mean, I'm sure years ago you could set up a shop and put a notice in the window, but these days, you know, you've got to do, like you're saying, the commerce side of things. You've got to sort out your marketing. It's just like so many more things as a business owner you've got to cram in to your day.
I know. I mean, Facebook's quite good for networking. I've got a lot of friends that were on the same course as me. We've stayed in touch. They're all maybe doing mobile, which is slightly different to me having a clinic. But we do ask advice and, you know, has anybody done this? What about taking appointments? Who's using this? And they tend to put links on Facebook for companies that maybe they've been dealing with that can do an online appointment booking system, or whether you just want to take a diary and book appointments. So I think Facebook is good for networking as well with people that are in a very similar, and other people. It's quite good to be able to get advice.
So you're perhaps less isolated than some other people that are starting up quite unique businesses, because you've got an industry and your ex-classmates.
Yeah.
Do you think that's quite?
I think it is
valuable to have that kind of support network.
I think it is in some ways. I mean, from my class when I was training, I'm the only one in Scotland. They're all down south.
Right.
So it is different for them, you know, and I think you need to be aware that if people are trying to give you advice, that the advice that they give you, you check it out for yourself, because obviously a lot of advice that I'm getting is coming from England. But the law in Scotland for practising can be different.
Yeah.
So, you know, another thing was like clinical waste. Obviously, I need to, you know, I need somebody to take away my clinical waste.
Yeah.
And I did ask somebody about clinical waste, and I got all this information back, and then I realised that the law in Scotland was different to the law in England. So it wasn't quite as plain sailing as what I'd maybe thought it was. Yeah. And I've had to then go around and dig about myself.
Do your own research.
Yeah, so I think it is essential to try and get some advice from someone, whoever whoever it could be. I mean, there's nothing worse than feeling quite isolated when you're trying to put an idea into practice. Maybe, you know, like a networking group locally or something could help if you can get to know a few business people that are maybe doing individual businesses as well. So they may not be able to help you with your business, but they've got a background of the startup process. And
Yep.
Does that make sense?
It does, and that's a perfect lead into advertising the benefits of being business.
There you go. Thought I'd practice that.
I know, I paid her. So thank you for that. No, that's really interesting. So I know you need to get off very shortly. Like I said, we'll get all the details up on the website, and we'll hopefully see you at one of our meetings.
You will. You will. I will pencil time in the diary.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. Bye.